Tennessee left off the top 10 stadiums for fan atmosphere. Okay. I can't stand clickbait. I get accused of clickbait, as we all do in what we do professionally. Caleb does, I do, even though I can tell you, and if you don't believe it, don't believe it, fine. But I firmly believe, Caleb, that some of these articles that come out are purely for clicks. What you and I write, we believe in our hearts. If you bumped into us on the streets, we would believe it. Caleb told you he didn't think Tennessee would make a Sweet 16 run. He didn't. He parted from that after they did. But some of these, to me, to not have Neyland Stadium is a huge monstrous what the H. I do not understand, especially with the season they had last year. If this is 12 months ago, fine. I got it. But did you see the light show? Did you see the fans that showed up for every single game? Not just the Alabama game, not just the Florida game. I'm going to run down the top 10, top 12, or top 10 list. Tennessee comes in at 11. And the another reason why this list bothers me is you have Ohio Stadium at 12, which I haven't been to. So I'll give you the insight to ones I've been to. But to me, Ohio State is low at 12. So I think the Buckeyes have a gripe as well. But let's focus on Tennessee. All right. And fill me up with the message board, okay? Travis says they hate us because they ain't us. Fill us up with the message board. I want to hear exactly. Do you give me one stadium that you think competes with Neyland and you think that maybe is even better? Rebecca says that atmosphere poll is the stupidest thing I've seen. That was totally for clicks. I'm with you, but it's got me talking. So I guess they got me.
They got
Mr. Jones says, what other team pulled up goalpost? Mr. Jones says, that's just BS. The Alabama game was the most viewed game in the regular season. Travis says that's total BS. I know where you guys stand. Give me one stadium that you think is close. Let's play the other side and let's take a look at this. So, all right, here we go. So the stadiums that are supposed to be better than Tennessee, Michigan, that's stupid.
The Big House is the quietest place for anybody that knows about it.
I know. I haven't been there, but I've talked to many reporters that have. It's way spread out. It's not loud at all. That's stupid. I mean, stupid.
It's dumb.
Yes. Nebraska. I'll be honest with you, I haven't been there, but that to me is absurd. I can guarantee you as I go through this list, that South Carolina is not going to be on it, but South Carolina, I think, is an underrated place to play when you're in the stadium. I'd say the same for Auburn, which probably won't be on this list, but Nebraska being above so many SEC schools is just stupid. I think you almost have to tweak this when you're writing it. I feel sorry for the writer because you could do almost 8 SEC schools right off the top. So Texas A&M, I haven't been to. It's one of 2 SEC schools that I haven't been to. But when I ask people, it's just incredible, just unbelievable. So for me, them to be 8 feels low. You jump in whenever you feel the need to do so. Florida State at 7, Caleb, feels high to me, especially with the lack of success they've had.
Yeah, I think the Florida State thing, and you're going to see this with Clemson too, they're relative because I've been to quite a few ACC games myself. And for those who don't know, ACC games are horrible. They are hard. I mean, they are notoriously bad. There's a reason, by the way. I don't know if you guys remember this. This started in the early 2000s. This was by design. The ACC purposely started scheduling games at 7 or 8 at night, and all their primetime games are always that. That's the only chance they had to have rowdy fans in the stadium. And that's why they have more night games than anybody else, because of that. ACC football is awful. And so if you're covering ACC week to week and then you end up in Tallahassee, you're like, okay, this is like an SEC fan base. Or Clemson. By the way, another horrible fan base that's weak. I'm sorry. It's Miami's included in that. They're a powerhouse football program, but it's a boring, boring place to go to a football game.
Oh, it's a great place to get stabbed when they were in the old Orange Bowl.
Which is more fun than the actual fans in the game. It's more fun than the actual cheering because the fans are just I mean, half of them are just half of Miami fans are just they love the U and the coolness of it, but they're not at the games every week.
No, and now the new stadium is 45 minutes away. It's the casino that doesn't have craps and takes 45 minutes to get a drink. But not that I'm mad about that. My trip in December. Yeah. So I mean that's the only fun game in the casino. And they don't have a sports book. But
right.
You have to get in the car 45 minutes to the stadium and there's no tailgating. But that's Miami. Okay, here we go. Wisconsin Camp Randall Stadium is better than Neyland Stadium.
This is by design. Wisconsin has a tradition where there's one moment and he cites the jump around thing. That doesn't make the stadium as a whole better than Neyland Stadium. That's just a moment.
I agree. And I watched they did a vignette piece on that guy who is the lead singer of the jump around. Who is that?
House of Pain.
House of Pain. I love that song, by the way, and I love House of Pain. But they did a special on that guy during College Game Day, and boy, you talk about making you feel old when you see him. He is completely gray. I came to get up, I came to get down. So get up, and jump around. That does not make it better than Neyland Stadium. Camp Randall is not. Florida, Ben Hill Griffin Stadium is better than Neyland.
Florida, I can't get mad if you put the Swamp above Neyland.
I can't either.
Anybody who's been there, I think it's the design of the stadium, and I need some architect to talk to me about this, but it just gets uniquely loud at Florida for anybody that's been there.
I think it's that and LSU is the two toughest places to play, the two loudest, rowdiest stadiums. So.
We'll get to LSU in a minute because I have some thoughts because they're on here.
Okay, well, yeah, LSU, if they're not right up at the top, then this is a really stupid list. By the way, the Wisconsin thing is a pity vote. You're putting them up there basically because their program's not very good, and you say, yo, they got the jump around, so let's do this. Clemson, I mean, has the guy even been to a lot of these stadiums? I have been to Clemson.
Relative to if you cover ACC football.
Relative. Right.
If you end up at Clemson or Florida State after covering a Duke game or a UNC game or back in the day a Maryland game, and then you get to go cover a Clemson game. But I think Virginia Tech would honestly be in there too. Virginia Tech's the other one where they're pretty big on football in Blacksburg.
Mr. Jones said during the Tennessee-Bama game, there was an earthquake detected from the rumble of the stadium. Amen. A morgue is louder than Michigan. Amen.
Remember when Lou Holtz complained about the decibel level at Neyland?
I don't.
Yeah.
My memory of Lou Holtz is always getting cursed out by him. That's my one memory. You told me you were just going to be 8 minutes. And I said, I didn't tell you that. A producer must have told you that. I apologize that we went 12. Because people taking advantage of my time. If I'd have kept the record button, that's one thing I learned in that interview, keep the record button going. Alabama, Bryant-Denny Stadium, no chance.
No way.
No chance. You can't understand what Paul Bear Bryant is saying in the pregame. It's just gravelly. It's awful. You can't understand it. And they're starting to be a sit on their hands crowd like Tennessee was in the late 90s after winning a championship in the early 2000s. No, I'm sorry. It's not close.
No, it's not. They got to the 100,000 stadium mark a few years ago, but also the design of it, it's not going to – there's places where the sound to travel out. There's gaps in the stadium. So it's not – the sound's not trapped into the stadium. So it's going to leave – it's not that loud. It's more exciting than it used to be. Remember before they finished that upper deck on the other side, how like it was actually a quiet stadium up until that point. There's a reason they played their games in Birmingham for 60 years. They're big games.
No, I agree. Caleb's dog makes an appearance. Penn State, Beaver Stadium. Why? Because they wear all white?
That's the tradition is doing it. That's got to be it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only thing it could possibly be. Now, LSU is number one. Here are my thoughts based off not only the stadiums that I've been to, and I've been to most of the ones that we mentioned, but based off the stadiums that I've been to or talked to people. So, like, I'm going to give A&M a really good boost, even though I haven't been there because of people I talked to. To me, here's how I would do it in tiers. I think, to be quite frank with you, it's LSU and Florida are on the upper tier, and then right behind them would be the Ohio State's, Tennessee's, Neyland Stadium, and there's like 3 or 4 others that I would probably include in there. It would not be Alabama. It would not be Clemson. But it would not be Wisconsin. Would not be Florida State. But I would have A&M on that second tier. Maybe even if I saw that in person on the first tier. But Caleb, that's pretty much where I am in terms of stadiums. I think it's Florida, LSU, not just in the SEC, but in the nation. Now, Florida maybe takes a dip because their program hasn't been as good. But now this list is
you ready for my LSU hot take?
You got a hot take?
Tiger Stadium is massively overrated for one reason. Death Valley is only that loud at night. Guys, a 3:30 game at LSU is not as exciting or rambunctious as Neyland Stadium, and a noon game is definitely not. We saw Tennessee at Baton Rouge last year. Remember how lethargic that crowd was at noon?
When that time was announced, Caleb, that line should have moved by 6 points to Tennessee's way.
I agree. LSU fans are only exciting at night. Come at me, LSU fans. I'm waiting on it. You guys are I've been to an LSU game at noon. That was the Derek Dooley 13 men on the field game 13 years ago. Oh. There was nothing intimidating about you guys that day. Nothing. Okay? You're only intimidating at night after you've had a day of alcohol. You're hungover at noon. And you're usually hungover at 3:30 or 2:30 because you still haven't fully sobered up from the night before. So
it's so weird. It's so weird being at those games at LSU, more so than any other place, when you're stark sober, because obviously I didn't drink while I was covering the games, but you're walking by people that are either A, really hungover, or B, just getting sloshed, hammered. But LSU is right up there. Smoky Mountain Reds said Cajuns are not morning people. Or maybe I've got some Cajun in me. Vassy Lawn and Garden, man alive, it's worth the drive. You love Vassy Lawn and Garden. Vassy Lawn and Garden has buying power that makes it worth the drive from Knoxville, Nashville, Chattanooga to get those industrial commercial mowers. Toro, count on it. It is phenomenal. So where would you have Tennessee? I would have Tennessee second tier, anywhere from 3, 4, or 5, right along with Texas A&M. And, the one that didn't make this list is Auburn. But I would have them right along the second tier with Texas A&M. I wouldn't have them any lower. I wouldn't have Neyland Stadium any lower than 5.
I would go number 2, specifically with the stadium, only to the Swamp. I want to add another point, though, too. As far as atmosphere as a whole, I put Neyland Stadium number 1. You can't beat the fall. The orange is synonymous with fall. The Smoky Mountains in the background, just like it gives you a fall feel that we all love about football, combined with the stadium. I mean, you get like a backdrop of the mountains when you're in the stadium, if you're on the right side of it. So that alone, do you get more of a football feel than being in Neyland Stadium anywhere else in the country?
A football feel,
like it's the best 3:30 atmosphere by far. It's number 1 for 3:30 to me. Now, Florida probably beats them at night, I would say, but I think Neyland Stadium has the best 3:30 atmosphere.
You get a party feel at LSU. You get a nouveau riche feel at Florida, which I think are tough places to play. No, it's right up there. I mean, I would say Alabama. I would say probably Ohio State, a football feel. I mean, they don't
get as loud as Neyland.
No, they don't.